Today, I want to start my Coping Camp series with something to help us get a handle on the moment. See, Coping Camp is a mental health boot camp, a series of practical exercises that you can do at home to discover and strengthen existing coping skills while learning a few new ones. Now, this channel is about the practice of wellness, practical things that you can do to make the changes you want to see. And I'm going to start out right out of the gate, first few seconds in, with the most powerful coping skill there is, and the disclaimer. See, these videos are not meant to be rescue techniques. If you're actively having a crisis, you shouldn't be watching a YouTube video. Call a friend, dial 911, or contact one of the crisis lines listed below. Seriously, there are no silver bullets, especially if you're fighting werewolves. You know what does work? Not doing it alone. If you need allies, get some right now. Reach out to a friend, a crisis line below in the description, or a professional, whatever it takes. Hands down, it is the best coping skill. Enlist an ally, hire a mercenary, build a team, and don't stop until you're bringing the whole team. You don't have to fight the big bad on your own. Do it. We'll wait.
We are getting an whole team. Yeah? We're working on that right now.
There. Ready to suit up? Okay. Let's start with the difference between thoughts, feelings, and emotions, dabble in a little theory, then introduce some guided imagery exercises, including one called the push button technique. Again, this is not going to pull you back from the cliff when you're in crisis, but it does help you to develop a skill that you can use to avoid finding the cliff in the first place. You see, negative thoughts and feelings, especially, seem to occur in repeating patterns and loops. The more repeats, the deeper the groove, and the harder it is to break out of the loop, like a song that you can't get out of your head. The push button technique shows how to interrupt that loop, even actively engage in the practice of positive counter-programming to pave in the groove itself. Now in IT, there's a term, garbage in, garbage out. If all you do is shovel in garbage data, all you're going to get out is garbage results. The push button technique teaches you to actively change the station, choose better programming, and get better results because you enjoy the show that's on. This episode is going to come out in two parts. This is the educational bits, as well as an introduction to guided imagery and the push button technique. The second is a different guided imagery exercise, a 10-minute safe space guided meditation without the introduction and theory baggage. It's intended to be something that can be played by itself as a meditation video, while this one is more about the who's its and how's its about negative thoughts and feelings and how to change them. If you enjoy my dulcet tones, check it out here and see what happens when I focus on voice acting instead of intense eye contact. To begin exploring thoughts and feelings, we need to start in the mind. Now, to illustrate the subtle parts mind and body play in how we think, feel, and behave, sometimes even below our conscious awareness, I'm going to ask you to picture your life as a car. Get an image in your mind of the life car so that we can move around it and take a really good look at it. Now, it's your life, so sit right down in the driver's seat. As you look around your life car, it has a steering wheel for changing directions, pedals for controlling speed. As you look out the windows and start using the mirrors, you get a pretty good picture of the world around you. Yet, it's not complete. There are obvious blind spots most drivers are aware of, but also others you just don't often think about. For example, you can't see under the hood from the driver's seat, nor check the tires without a walk around. The metaphor we're imagining here is Glasser's total behavior car, a concept that brings thought, feeling, and behavior together and models how we move through the world. Where the rubber meets the road in this illustration is through our contact patch with the world around us, our thoughts, feelings, and actions, as well as the physiology of our bodies. Today, we're not popping the hood to look at our needs. Instead, we're just kicking the tires of Glasser's model and looking at thoughts, emotions, and feelings. But what's the difference? Thoughts are the easiest to identify. They are internally constructed language, words that you say in your own head. I'm hungry. you should go to lunch. If you hear words as you read or are responding to this video with ideas like, yeah, what is the difference? Or lunch. Those are thoughts. If life were a comic book, it's anything that goes in the thought bubbles. Thoughts are active, while the other two seem more to happen to us and feel more passive. Feelings are much tougher to parse because feeling is such an inaccurate word. Feeling is about sensation, and these sensations occur along a spectrum between the mind and body, on this sensory axle. Where internal thoughts and external actions are clear and distinct, feelings are intermingled. Emotions of anger and rage come with flushed faces and feelings of pressure, as well as actual biological and chemical changes in the body. Here, it is less important to understand which it is than to understand their role in your total behavior. Now, sorry, but your car is not a four-wheel drive. Only the drive of our thoughts and actions move us through the world. Emotions and bodily physiology are the rear wheels that help keep us on track by providing feedback from the road. You can't simply dump energy into your emotions or focus solely on your bodily sensations and expect to get where you're going in life. It's like being stuck in the mud. Stepping on the gas is only going to throw the mud, not get you moving. Emotions and bodily experiences give us feedback from the road as we travel it. They tell us if it's muddy or slick, or hit our heads on the roof when we speed over the bumps. These feeling tires are often not directly under our control, but are driven wherever our thoughts and actions take them. But this also means that a change in our thoughts and actions can take us to other emotions and ways of feeling, like happiness, fitness, and comfort. We often overlook the wisdom of our own physiology, ignoring those little hairs on the neck that hint of danger, or the sinking feeling in your stomach that you get when you agree to do something that you just don't want to do. We misread the urge to relieve boredom as hunger, or soreness as a reason to sit on the couch instead of a sign to stretch tense muscles. The body gives clues to our internal states if we can learn to read the signals, like paying attention to the tension and relief we experience as we make choices. Our emotions and bodily sensations work on a completely different level than our conscious thoughts and utilize different, usually more intuitive data to help keep us on track and balanced. If we tune into these elements of our total behavior, they can provide insight into difficult decisions. When you're feeling ambivalent about a decision, you can use the body's natural wisdom to help out. Imagine that you have a major decision. You've explored the alternatives thoroughly. There are pluses and minuses either way, but no clear answer. You decide to break the inertia of indecision by forcing a choice. You flip a coin. Whatever comes up, the decision is made. You have to commit to the result. The moment you toss the coin in the air, you may feel which result you really want to come up, and that's the path to take, ignoring the coin toss. If no clear feeling comes through, then the choice has still been made and you're ready to move into action. How would you feel having made a choice in this way? Now, if these back tires serve as warning lights or guides to help keep our behavior headed in the right direction, it's the front tires that steer the course. Feelings and physiology provide feedback as we make our way, but it's through our thoughts and actions that we make choices and make progress. When all four wheels are aligned, we can make great time getting where we're going. But negative thoughts and actions can be just as detrimental to our decisions as overinflated anxiety or a sleep-deprived physiology. You can't drive towards goals effectively if repetitive thoughts and behaviors continue to pull you into the ditch or past turns that you need to make. Taking control starts by acknowledging the current state of your life's car. Whether it has a wobbly thought wheel or your action taking has spun you off down a side street, making the choice to check your tire pressure and then do the repairs is the only way to keep it on the road. If there's too much play in the steering, you can either struggle at every turn or commit to making the repairs and doing the work. It all starts with a walk around to kick the tires and see where things are at, so you can define the problem. This repair work takes training, and training is a matter of practice. The more you put in, the faster and easier it becomes, just like changing a tire. Only you can choose if you'll put in the time, and it all starts with developing an awareness of where you're at today. Don't know much about cars, tires, needs, brains, or people? Call in a professional. Take it to a mechanic. They have all the tools and can match the right tool to the problem. I mean, distraction is a great tool to get past short-term, infrequent discomforts, like stubbing your toe, but it's terrible for recurring or longer-term challenges, like relationship issues or chronic pain. You won't improve your sense of belonging by spending all your time at work any more than hanging with friends is going to pay the rent. Mindfulness, exercise, and pro-social behaviors, as well as therapeutic techniques like CBT and play therapy, are only a tiny sliver of the near infinite selection of available tools. But there are no silver bullets and no omni tools. Nothing works for everyone. Remember physiology and feelings? That's why if it doesn't feel right to you, you just won't do it. Use the tools that fit you and the problem. Now, while our available choices are determined by where we are today, the course we set with our thoughts and actions determine what options we'll see in the future. The choices you make available to yourself are largely a function of planning a course and making small, deliberate choices along the way that get you there over time. In the end, it's the only thing we truly control, our own choices. By taking responsibility for them, we take an active role in both our behavior and our destiny. Now, the push-button technique is a great way to start taking an active part in how we choose to feel and not feel. It was originally developed as a technique to fight depression. It's a blue mana spell for banishing the blues, a counterspell you can practice to interrupt negative thinking and prevent emotional fireballs. Now, this may be a low-level cantrip, and it is super simple to learn, but its power is not that it changes your brain like a lightning bolt. Instead, it's something you can use every day to make life a little easier while you level up, kind of like Mage Hand. Now, fair warning, we are going to be pushing our own buttons intentionally, bringing up those negative thoughts and feelings. Depending on where you are at personally, this may become very distressing. If it does, stop. Call on your allies. Bring in the team. If what you're carrying is too heavy for you alone, call in a spotter. Practice is about coming back again and again and developing skill, not pushing limits and not causing injury. Whenever you're ready, begin by closing your eyes. I want you to picture an image of your negative thoughts and feelings, whatever you ruminate on when you're angry, depressed, or anxious, and you feel yourself falling down that rabbit hole. What is the image that comes to your mind? If you can, bring that image into the world by naming it out loud, or write it down if you can, wherever you're watching this. Take a moment and recall the sounds and smells, as well as the sights that surround this issue. Try to name how you feel and look at where in your body you feel it. Take a few seconds to sit with this feeling. On a scale of 0 to 10, from no problem at all to you've already run screaming and aren't watching this anymore, how intense is that feeling? Now that's one button you have, and you're probably pretty familiar with it. Things and other people push it. Sometimes you push it too, probably on accident. It's probably a little worn over time, and the more it gets pushed, the easier it is to fall into those feelings. Now I want you to imagine another scene. Picture a happy scene where you felt totally alive, really positive, and really great about yourself. Go with your first impression, as long as it feels right. Take your time and again, involve each of your senses. Really try to bring back the details of how it felt. Focus on the image, and try to remember sounds, smells, and sensations as they come back to you. As before, try to name it and describe as best you can. Try to make it real in your mind. Spend some time with how it feels and find where you have that feeling in your body. Pause the video if you like and spend some time here. You've earned it. Back already? You see, this is another of your buttons. You can journal on this image later or use it in the safe space meditation over there to spend a little more time pushing your happy button if you like how it felt. Both of these buttons are available to you and you can push them whenever you want. They might get tripped from time to time when you're surprised, but you can always choose to push another button. If you push the negative button again, it usually won't have the same impact and intensity. Active positive thinking can inoculate us, but we just don't practice it as often. We instead listen to this nagging little merry-go-round broke down voice in our own heads. This is how changing what you're thinking can change how you feel. Now, it may sound simplistic, but think about it. How much time do you spend deliberately feeling good? We have a cultural tendency to focus on the negative and usually only celebrate the positive in groups. And groups aren't happening right now. When was the last time you rewarded yourself without feeling guilt or set aside time to reflect on the good things that were going on in your own life? Here's another telling question. How do you handle praise? If you just squirmed in your own skin, backpedaled and recoiled away from me, or deflected immediately, that's what I'm talking about. We can't simply banish unpleasant thoughts and feelings, but we can make them compete for airtime in our own mind by deliberately letting in a little sunshine. Life may throw us some surprising curves, and people may try to push our buttons along the way, but those are just initial sparks and bumps in the road. We just can't hand over the keys because there are potholes in the road and bad drivers along the way. In psychology, it's called an internal locus of control when we realize that it's our life car and that we can have primary control over our own feelings. No one can make us feel anything, not for very long, and not if we don't want to. Taking action and making choices rather than letting people or situations have control over us is a lot of work and a lot of responsibility. But with great responsibility comes great power, a power over difficult, negative thoughts and feelings that push our buttons. But there are buttons, and all it takes is practice. Now, if you watch these videos and we seem like a fit, feel free to drop me a line. If I'm not your cup of tea or not in your area, I can help you source somebody who is with a referral. As always, like, subscribe, and share so that we can see where this maniacal tuned car of mental health is headed. Thanks for watching. See you next time. You don't have to fight the bag. Call a friend, dial 911, or contact or choke to death right where you stand. It's the front tires that steer our course. Course? Yeah, I'm making up words. And that is the path to take, ignoring the coin toss. Damn, I was so close.